Because to give the guy an angle is not the straight target.
Not the tracks.
You got to give the guy half of your body. Bruce Lee was good at it. That's real stuff. There's a reason. You give a guy half a target. You here, you square up.
Yeah. Some people, they don't know how to categorize my style, so they'll say, oh, he's got speed, or he's a good boxer. But you know, I'll use the phrase that Bruce Lee used before. I'm formless. I'm gonna be whatever I need to be. So one thing that people underestimate with me is they get ready to fight, and the cat is out of the bag right now. But
would you compare yourself to historically if you had to?
I think I'm a combination of Jon Jones, Bernard Hopkins, and Floyd Mayweather. I can fight inside. I can get rough. You know, I can be flashy. I can, you know, do certain things when I need to, and then, you know, I can be very systematic like Floyd and break a guy down. So I think, you know, I've taken something from all three of those guys. But at the same time, I'm trying to stay true to who I am and just be myself. So that makes sense.
Which you are.
Yeah, thank you. Try to be formless, man, like Bruce Lee said.
There you go. Like water.
I'm what I need to be when I need to be it, you know. And it's funny because people try to tag me like, oh, he's a technical fighter. Oh, he's a slick fighter. Not really, man. There's a lot more going on in there than just being slick. Because if it wasn't, a lot of the guys that I fought would try to walk through me. I fought some of the biggest punchers in my division, and if I wasn't hitting hard and I didn't have nothing to offer, trust me, they'd be walking straight. It's funny, the same thing they say about Floyd. Oh, he can't hit. Somebody's putting them knots on them guys' head. Somebody's stopping them from running in there. Like.
One of my other favorite fighters was Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Main reason because anything happens, he's already ready for his back foot ready.
Yeah.
Back foot ready. That's your real defense. Okay. All this other stuff is defense, but it's not real defense because. That's why I beat James Toney. James Toney was one of the best fighters of all time. One of the best defensive fighters of all time.
James, that was...
But he ain't moving his feet. So because I got the full feet part of me, when he come at me, I'm moving my feet. I'm changing my whole location. When I come at him, he doing this. My hands too fast. I'm gonna find it. Yeah. You only gonna do that 1-2 times, I'm gonna find it. Because my hands too quick. So people get the wrong misconception that defense is this. No. Defense is this. Wherever your back foot is, that's your defense. So your rhythm, if you ready to go down, then you got good rhythm. Yeah. If you watch Bruce Lee, he start jumping, the first thing he do is this, come back. That's your defense. Yeah. But then also it gives you an opportunity to change your rhythm. So if you can control that back foot, you got everything. Then you got to control that back foot, you got nothing.
Is that the same with feinting as well? Would you use feints?
Of course, that's what I'm saying. Okay. So if I got this back foot ready, I can feint you, but I'm always ready to do that. So what made Bruce Lee so good was how y'all doing. What made Ali so good was they both turn the back foot. So Ali would play games, he's out here playing games, he's playing games with him, but he's already playing the golf. So if you happen to miss you, he's already gone. Yeah. Not with these, with this. He didn't care to use these hard at all. He used this. So what happens is, if you're gonna implement all the other defensive stuff they have along with this, you're gonna kill them.
Bruce Lee is my idol.
Again, as a fight fan, that you have a lot of the same sort of attributes like Bruce Lee had, as far as you fight, you're a movie star, good-looking guys. And is he someone that you admired at all growing up in his movies, Bruce Lee?
Bruce Lee is my idol.
So Bruce Lee is your idol?
Yeah, idol,
okay.
Yeah. I'm going to learn some techniques of Bruce Lee, you know, the quickness of his hands in legs.
My dad always said, like Bruce Lee. Yeah. Stick, snap, right?
I've told people all over the world that Bruce Lee was one of my idols, mainly because of his mental stability, because of his fighting spirit, because it was more mental than just physical. For him, it was like what he called emotional content, and for me, that's when I succeeded, when I had to face major obstacles and major opponents like Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler. Because of my mental stability, I was able to beat those guys. Without question, Bruce Lee relates to athletes of all kinds. of every kind, because it's all about having everything in sync to perform at the highest. It all ties in together. I tell these boxers today on The Contender that your mind and your body and your spirit must all connect to get the best results. Bruce was an example of what materializes from hard work, and there were no boundaries, there was no racial barriers, there was nothing. People saw Bruce Lee as a major force, a positive force, and he was special. Well, that was the most amazing thing about Bruce, was the fact that he could generate so much speed and velocity in his punches, short punches that he used his body and the type of leverage he was able to gain, because he understood the mechanics of the body. That was special. What impressed me the most about Bruce was his smoothness. I mean, he was gliding. He would glide, and he was not methodical. He was very spontaneous in his movement, and everything he did was for a reason. He just didn't move to just be cute. He moved for a reason, to get in line, to get in position, to throw something, to position himself. Everything was for a reason. Bruce Lee had charisma. He had that package. He could fight. He was versatile. He was smart. He was deadly. And he seemed like he was the least guy that could defend himself, but he had such an ability to outperform anyone, no matter what size. No matter how strong, Bruce Lee always had a way, and he did it with style, and that's what I love. That he did it with style. Well, only Bruce Lee could really perform and execute the type of punches he threw, the power, the speed, the accuracy that he threw his punches. You know, I have not seen too many other martial artists in that league. I love Jackie Chan. I love Jet Li. I mean, those guys remind me a great deal of Bruce Lee. I don't think of anyone that reaches that level. Bruce Lee is an icon. He is, you know, in the dictionary, you say greatest, you say Bruce Lee. That's the way it is. He was second to none. He stood out from the rest. What makes Bruce stand out is because of his charisma, is because he is so accurate, so powerful, and he's so smart, and he had that mental stability that very few people can reach and maintain to compete at the highest level.
Yeah, that's it.
Anderson's do his little magic Wong Chung Bruce Lee bullshit. I'm gonna come in to fight.
Showing my respect for boxing work, and I continue work every day to prove my respect for the martial arts and for Wing Chun and for Bruce Lee.
Was there something that you saw that you were able to get that one punch in, that you could make your move?
Wow, you know, the Grandmaster Bruce Lee say, be water, my friend. That's what I do today.
I love that. So
I joke for my brothers all the time. I'm Bruce Lee. I love Bruce Lee. The Bruce Lee. I'm watching the techniques, the Bruce Lee. The same times, I change my techniques for similar to Bruce Lee. All the time, the Bruce Lee talking. You water. As me, the same. Water sometimes strong, sometimes legs. That's it. Me, I'm so happy. You shake your hands now, this time. Sorry, but you're the best. For me, you're the best. You're the great master.
same. They have the same answer. I saw an interview one time with all these guys, and like 85, 90% says, "Who was your inspiration? Why did you start fighting?" It's always Bruce Lee. Jet fighter pilots. It's Top Gun, the movie. Real fighting. It's your dad. So.
But you can see when you see Bruce Lee and when you have his books, like I do, and you look what he was doing already. Oh, there's a weird alarm. Let me put it up. Okay, this is just a second. The weird sound. He was everything. He did every Tao of Jeet Kune Do. If you get that book, I mean, everything is in there. Even leg locks, knee bars, arm bars, everything, chokes. But he is just an incredible, driven athlete, mixed martial artist who could just push all the boundaries. His speed, everything was there. For me, in my mind, it's very easy to translate that. If you could put this guy 6 months with mixed martial artist or an hour or a year, he'll probably want to become a champion because if somebody was gifted.
I've inspired people to do mixed martial arts, but this gentleman right here, Bruce Lee, has inspired the world of martial arts. His sayings, be like water, the 1-inch punch. He is a legend. So he's contributed way more to martial arts, in my opinion.
So deep, so deep. I mean, the things us martial artists draw from today, he came up with a lot of that stuff. Like, where do you come up with this stuff? And it just makes you feel powerless because no one's gonna be like Bruce Lee, no matter how much you study or how much you know or how much you strive to be that type of person. He's just a truly extraordinary, one-of-a-kind individual. About 6 months ago, we started doing the spinning back kick. He would come over my house 3 days a week, and I've worked that same kick from both stances 3 hours a week for several months. And Bruce Lee says that he doesn't fear the man that knows 1,000, 10,000 kicks, but the man who has worked one kick 10,000 times. And I put a lot of work in with that spinning back kick, and it's getting faster and more unpredictable. There's really no tell when it's coming, and it's a devastating shot. I didn't hit Stipe's liver. I hit him on the opposite side, but it sends shockwaves to a person's body. It can break a rib. It's just a really powerful shot. So I'm really proud of landing that shot after so many hours of working it.
If he will compete in the UFC today, he will be as skilled as any UFC fighter with his talent.
Hit this 250, 300 pound guy, hit the chair and went over it. And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to do that. And my brother looked at me and said, Bruce Lee is only one of a kind. And I said, well, we all can be one of a kind. From that point on, I already had 3 to 4 different systems that I was already training with. My dream was to spar against him. That was my dream. I wanted to see how fast. I saw the speed that he had in litter. And when he passed away, when he moved on, people had said to me and compared me, I said there will only be one Bruce Lee. There's only one Jet, but there's only one Bruce Lee. And as far as I'm concerned, he was the best. To this day, he is the best. And this truly
But I think the sport of mixed martial arts was started by Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee's movies, Bruce Lee's philosophies, just Bruce Lee's image alone is very powerful.
Bruce Lee definitely did a lot of sparring, for sure. There's no way he could be this good. The way his timing is, his movement, like his understanding of what would and wouldn't work. Like these, in a lot of ways, even though some of it is ridiculous, some of his movements are more realistic than shit you see in the movies today. The way he checks with that oblique kick, the way he counters when you're moving in, it's very realistic. Like these scenes, like the way he's fucking this dude up is a lot like the way someone who's at a really high level is fucking somebody up in the UFC.
Some philosophy about life, and he blew me away. Bruce Lee's a killer. You hurt your man, you do as much damage as you can, and you get out. You know what I mean? Without being hurt. Less damage on yourself as possible. I have so much respect for his philosophy. His philosophy is like the ultimate warrior philosophy.
I've no doubt he would have been world champion in MMA, no doubt. He's fluid, he's loose, he's fast. His movement is fluid, it's efficient, it's functional. So many guys are addicted to strength and conditioning and just get bulked up and stiff and slow, and Bruce was free.
Giorgio, your career in martial arts was inspired by Bruce Lee. How many Bruce Lee films do you think you've seen? How many times have you watched Bruce Lee films in your life? Would you say hundreds or thousands?
Ho visto, non mi ricordo, 100 o 1000, ho visto tantissimi film. E ogni volta che guardavo I suoi film andavo a allenarmi da solo, mi ispiravo a lui e mi allenavo da solo perché mi dava carica, mi dava il coraggio e volevo diventare un combattente forte.
Dead or alive, who would you want to meet the most?
Ok, ovviamente vorrei incontrare Bruce Lee, però non è possibile, però se incontrassi gli direi grazie perché grazie a te che ho visto tutti I suoi film quando ero piccolo e mi hai ispirato veramente di quello che sono, di salire sul ring, di combattere, di diventare il numero uno.
I had to learn all the different styles I can of martial arts, and I still am. And in that way, I pick and choose what is useful. Like he has a quote as well that learn everything, but then apply what's useful to you. I'm just down to learn, and I feel like he started that. He was the first guy to break those barriers and not just be like, oh, Kung Fu is the best. No, Jeet Kune Do is the best. Taekwondo is the best. Boxing. Like he tried everything, including ground fighting as well. So definitely I subscribe to the theory that he is the godfather of mixed martial arts. If he was born around this time, I think he'd do very well because of this, because of the way he thinks and because of his philosophy of martial arts. But if he was born in this era and if he studied and came up in this era, I think he'd be a motherfucker, man.
Ultimately, what do you think is his legacy?
For the world, I don't know. But for me, always keep learning, keep questioning, keep asking why. That speech when it does the, be formless, shapeless, like water.
Yeah.
Like it's so theatric and it just gets you into this like groove and you're like, yes. I don't know how to describe it, but like when he says it's like water, I know what he means. Cause I'm like, yes. And even when he's talking, when it was explained, he was speaking like water. He was speaking like water and you just feel this like he kind of moves you. It's beautiful, man.
The thing is in MMA, there is no end fighting like in wrestling. In wrestling, it's a lot about positioning and ends fighting that create your opportunity to go for a shot in freestyle wrestling. But you don't have the same setup in mixed martial art. So what I love to do is I love to set it up with my karate styles. I use a lot of the jab. And I've learned that also with Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was, taking he was particularly focusing on his lead hand and lead leg because it's his, like he said my longest weapon are with my leg, and for a boxer it's the jab, against your nearest point. So that's the idea. I use that decoy to create an opportunity for a shot to get in and cover the distance with a decoy. So I create a distraction, and when the guy is distracted, I get inside and I close the distance, and I love to get in the legs for my takedown. But you could use upper body clinch and different technique from that point.
You talk about Bruce Lee, man. You said it best. He changes my life too. He was ahead of his time.
Yeah,
Bruce, he was amazing. And like one thing that just to prove that he was ahead of his time, he was talking about using your longest weapon against your opponent nearest point. And we see that kick that it got popularized by Jon Jones. You know, the side kick to the thigh. It's longest weapon against your nearest point. In boxing is the jab, but in MMA, when you can use all your weapon, that's the kick to the thigh.
And I think if he was in his prime today, he would be a part of this. He would be a part of it. He would be where Conor McGregor is now. He would be that guy. The guy was always training. He was always training, not just for the movies, but for himself.
Right.
So I kind of bring that also into my training. I don't train just when I have a fight coming up. I'm always training. Therefore, you know, in a street situation, you know, it's better to have it and not need it than need to not have it, right? So I'm always training, always preparing myself, always getting better. And it was Bruce Lee that kind of I think of whenever I'm training as hard as I can. It's his livelihood. Like that's what he has been doing since as long as he can remember. And I know people that have trained with Bruce Lee. There's a guy, he's not with us anymore, but rest in peace, a guy named Joe Louis. He was a world champion.
The godfather of kickboxing.
Exactly. He's a heavyweight, right? This is the heavyweight telling me this. And this guy I've known for years, you know, and me being in the kickboxing world as well, growing up doing the kickboxing, and I know him personally, but he's told me that one of the hardest people who ever hit him was from a 125-pound man, and that man was Bruce Lee. And I'm like, what? And he looked at me dead in the eye with a serious face, like Bruce. And he told me himself, this is a badass guy. Joe Louis was a very hardened guy, old school kickboxer, and very tough. And for him to say that one of the toughest guys he's ever sparred with, and one of the guys that, you know, who's hit him the hardest, this is a heavyweight, was Bruce Lee. That's like, you know, that's saying something. You can't tell me that Bruce Lee is not a hard guy, wasn't a good martial artist, wasn't a good fighter, you know, if you got guys coming to me telling me that. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of know more than most of what, you know, some credible sources, how Bruce Lee was. And Joe Louis told me that this guy was always training, not just for the movies. He wouldn't have a movie coming up. The guy was always training. He was always teaching classes. He was always training with Joe Louis, Chuck Norris, things like that, man. It's like, that's a true martial artist right there. And if that guy was living today, it would be the same. He would be the best. I think he would be champion.
Bruce Lee was the first true mixed martial artist. Use everything that's useful from all styles.
He actually did fight. He fought like dudes on set of his movies. You know, those are documented.
Right.
Dudes wanted to challenge him while they were making the movie. He'd beat their ass. So, but if you look at his philosophy and the way he broke everything down, he had it down.
Yeah.
He had all that shit down. He already knew. He was brought up in a traditional martial art, and he wasn't so attached to it that he was just going to be a blind follower. Right. Nobody ever at that point, nobody ever broke down the martial arts like Bruce Lee.
He's one of the best martial artists of our time, probably ever. You know, I would say he's one of the first mixed martial artists. I was in the Bruce Lee movies. You know, he's a little guy whooping ass. You know what I mean? So I was always into that. I think it was his passion, you know, and how he was spreading his knowledge to everybody. You know, he wasn't one to you know, try to keep any secrets. And I think the fact that he kind of looked out the box. I think I read some stuff that he studied Muhammad Ali. I mean, and he armbarred Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So he was definitely a master of a bunch of different disciplines. And I think that's what we see today in mixed martial arts.
He did grappling all the way back then. He was hitting arm bars and stuff, and it's like
you know, you look back and you're like, wow, his brain was seriously on another planet to be thinking that far ahead of where we are today. And he was a genius. I think that he would have become a student of the game as time went on, and from what he already knew, he clearly would have understood what we're doing today. Bruce Lee.
I know if Bruce Lee was alive today, he would have, of course, like anything else, been doing the grappling and doing all the things and putting everything together. Like Bruce Lee is like the prototypical MMA guy, right, from back in the day. He was doing it all. He was with June Bell. He was doing the striking, he was doing the grappling, and he even created those gloves, right? Those special gloves. I just get amazed every time I just think back to how legendary he became and how legendary he made himself. I mean, you don't just become legendary; you end up doing it yourself.
Top-notch fighter, and a karate man. The fighter wouldn't stand a chance, because there's only one or two things he can do is ball his fist up and throw a jab. With the karate man, it's jumping and kicking and falling down, and it's too much.